will get started. And we're gonna kick it off with health department update. So is this Shane or Cindy?
Yeah, Deshane's here.
Fantastic, Deshane, great.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So what we have seen and continue to see with this Omicron variant is our case numbers here in Missoula are very high, and because of that, what we are at the health department really focusing on is the rates of serious illness and death, because we want to make sure now that we have a lot of people getting sick, or not, I should rephrase that, a lot of people contracting the virus, but not getting very sick. What we want to make sure that we're really capturing is the severity. And so a couple updates on that. Our hospital numbers approached near Delta spike numbers much quicker than what we thought they would. So today we have 49 individuals hospitalized, 29 Missoula County residents and 20 non-Missoula County residents hospitalized for COVID. And in conversations with St. Pat's, we are supporting their request. It hasn't been officially made yet, I found out today, but they're in the process of officially making the request again for National Guard support. We don't know anything yet what that looks like. When the official request will go through, if it will be approved, if it is approved, how many will be approved for, when they'll get here. So I don't have details on that yet. The details that I do have are that our hospitals are absolutely struggling. And in this case, so not only are our case numbers, our hospitalization numbers approaching and very near Delta spike levels, but because of the very high transmissibility of the Omicron variant, our hospitals are also struggling with a workforce capacity issue. And so St. Pat's has mentioned that they have had record amount of staff members out. And one day, I think that was either end of last week or early this week, that actually hit 90 staff members out in one day, which is a big hit for the hospital to take. And so they are doing everything they can to protect their capacity to provide services and support to our community. And obviously from the health department, what we want to do is do everything we can to support them in protecting their capacity. That being said, I came home to take this call, so I don't have my computer at work, but what we are seeing is that our number one protection is still vaccines. Even with the Omicron variant, when we've pulled the latest numbers, what we see is that if you are vaccinated, you are still significantly less likely to become infected. You are much less likely to be hospitalized, and almost very, very unlikely to die if you are vaccinated, is the situation that we're in right now, looking back at the last 30 days. And so we want to continue to encourage and promote vaccines. The other thing that we are really trying to encourage is testing. And so the health department, I realized that when Omicron hit, the surge for testing absolutely overwhelmed our capacity. And then as we kind of started to ramp up capacity, we hit the same issue that I just mentioned with St. Pat's and many other employers in Missoula, where we ended up having staff out either with COVID themselves or caring for children or family members with COVID. And so all that said, though, we have doubled our capacity to give COVID tests, and we are right now tracking about 4 COVID tests delivered every 5 minutes by the health department. And so we are putting as much effort and energy as we can into testing. That being said, a lot of people in Missoula need testing. If only 1% of Missoulians got tested at that 4 per minute, 4 per 5 minutes, we would need 25 hours in a day in order to test all those people. We don't have 25 hours in a day, and the health department definitely does not have 25 hours in a day. And so the health department cannot be the only sole source for testing. And in that sense, we have been partnering. So the University of Montana got its testing station up and going today. Today was their first day, and they ran, I think, 47 tests today on their first day. So that's great. That was dealing with, because it was the first day, we were dealing with hiccups and the computer and getting things to print right and go right. So 47 in one day is great. So students, faculty and staff can get tested now through that. And then we received from the county, we received a large shipment of at-home tests from the state, and our county Office of Emergency Management has graciously taken on the challenge of receiving and distributing those at-home tests, which are intended for households. So those are not intended to stay in the hands of the health department. Those are to get out into the hands of community members. And so I don't have all of the information in front of me, and I'm not sure if Adrienne or anyone from her office is on, but I do know that this weekend they will be at Fort Missoula, and I believe it's either Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember. So if somebody knows, please hop in. 11 to 7. And that's a drive-through where any Missoula resident can drive through. There is a limit of either 1 or 2 per household. And all of that information OEM is going to be putting out to the public. And so we are doing everything we can to get testing out into the hands of our community members. Partnership Health Center was expecting to receive also a large amount of at-home tests tomorrow. I think they're expecting 14,000. And so they're working to make sure that those are distributed through schools that are under-resourced when it comes to testing, and then some other community segments that are under-resourced when it comes to testing. And let's see, so I've talked about testing, I've talked about vaccines. A message that our hospitals have asked us also to share is that here in Missoula, we are also affected by the national blood shortage, and we need to encourage folks to donate blood. That being said, the Red Cross and folks who are taking blood are also experiencing the same staffing shortages due to staff being out. So I've been told that people are trying to sign up, and they're usually booking out several days. So you can't sign up tonight and go tomorrow to give blood, but you could sign up and go next week and give blood. And St. Pat's has let us know that they are at a point now where they are having to carefully distribute the blood that they have available. And so we're not at a place yet where they're rationing or restricting blood, but they're getting to the point where they are absolutely proactively managing how the limited blood supply that they have is used. And all of that comes down to the best thing that we can continue to do is get the message out that although Omicron does have the potential to be a milder variant than Delta, milder does not mean mild. This is still a variant of concern. The Omicron variant absolutely still has the capacity to cause severe COVID illness and death. And the best thing that we can do is get vaccinated and practice all of those behaviors that we've learned over the last 2 years to try to slow the spread of this virus here in Missoula. So with that, happy to take any questions.
Looks like Bert, well, okay, I don't know what Deshane, are you able to stay on for a bit? Because according to our schedule,
did I already go over?
No, but we have a presentation with Bradley Seaman, and then we're going to open it up for questions and answers. But if you need to go, we can change it around.
I am happy to hang out.
Okay. Bert, is that okay if we hang out for a bit and let Bradley go, and then we'll come back?
That'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you for that, Deshane. So next up, we have election judge training with Bradley Seaman.
Okay, am I coming through all right?
Yeah, fantastic.
Great, fantastic. I'm excited to be here because this is the community that we are trying to reach. We're in the middle of election judge recruitment and training. We train election judges before the primary election every even-numbered year. In Missoula County, we have the most polling places out of any county in the state of Montana, and we also have a very high absentee rate. In order for us to be able to both issue ballots to absentee voters, count those ballots incorrectly, and fully staff all 28 different polling places, we rely on the community to come together. And what we really hit is that we're great about getting people within the city of Missoula to sign up and serve at the local school here. Where we always find a need is in our outlying communities. To be able to serve in Greeno, Potomac, Seeley Lake, our Evero polling place is always one that's very tough to staff. So the opportunity to come and speak to the All Community Council has been fantastic. I love that I recognize so many names from this list of people who have signed up and served. I also am excited to meet some new people who may be interested. So election judge training will be beginning in February 22nd. Election judges are the people whom are going to greet voters at the polling place, help issue out ballots, account for those ballots. They may also be the people whom are working in our counting center when we have a mail ballot election. So they'll be helping make sure that we're tabulating all of the ballots correctly. And then they're also at our drop-off locations and delivery teams for supplies throughout the day. Election judge training is a 3-hour course, and this year we're really excited. We're going to be following the leadership of the commission and offering hybrid classes, so both online and in person. And that 3-hour training is a paid training. It's a flat rate of $30, and that will qualify you for service in some of our more standard roles for election day. We also offer a couple of other training courses where you can train up to account for the ballots on election day, or in the future, manage a polling place. So those trainings are also paid. Our sign up is all online through MissoulaElectionJudge.com. I was trying to slap some of the posters up on the screen here, but I got them out to Violet, and hopefully we can email them to all of the different community councils directly. MissoulaElectionJudge.com will be our sign up, where you can go in and you can pick the class that's going to work best for you, the time and location, be it in person or online, and we can get you scheduled in for those trainings. Judges would serve in the June primary election and the November general election. And in addition to paid public service opportunity, well, it is a paid public service opportunity. So we do pay at minimum wage for our judges to serve in there. Many people do this for the experience as well as a little extra bonus right before Christmas. There are a few different requirements to be an election judge. They are that you must come through the certificate and be certified through training. That's that training held throughout February and March. And then in addition to that, you must be 18 years of age and a registered voter in Missoula County. From there, we're going to go through training. We're going to get you the information you need to help successfully serve voters, meet all of our laws, and also to enjoy a great election day. This is where the whole community comes together to support a common good of voting. I love being a part of the polling places where you see people who are definitely on opposite sides of the aisle, who all come together to help support voters casting their ballot and making sure their voice is heard. I can talk a lot about elections and why it's so important, but I'll be mindful of your guys' time. It's MissoulaElectionJudge.com. Violet just responded. She'll get out all of those resources and some emails here so we can get them covered for you. If you're 18 years of age, if you're registered to vote, and you're able to be in training in February or March, we would love to have you join. And specifically, if you know people in surrounding communities, the hardest polling places we have to schedule and staff are Condon, Seeley Lake, and Greeno, followed by Evero and Petty Creek. And by golly, we got everybody we need to be talking to here on this one call. So Violet will share out that information. If you know anybody who might be interested in serving, we'd love it if you can get them in touch with us. Missoula Election Judge will also have call numbers and emails if you want to just find out more. All right, that's my quick pitch here, Juanita. I'll be quiet for a little here.
Fantastic. This is going a lot faster than I thought it was. So I'm looking at our agenda and oh my gosh, I think that's it. So we can open it up for questions for either Deshane or Bradley, COVID or election judges.
One, could I ask Deshane a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So Deshane, if I'm understanding you right, and what I'm reading and hearing in national media, if a person is vaccinated and boosted, doesn't have underlying health conditions, and is not elderly, they have very low risk of getting really sick.
Yes.
And so what do you think about that type of person beginning to lead a life that looks more like a life that isn't in a pandemic, meaning things like going to restaurants or going to a gym or having dinner with friends, given that all of those things contribute to a person's emotional well-being, and there's a cost to remaining entirely focused on your physical well-being. And I don't have an agenda on this. I'm really looking for your opinion. How would you suggest a person weigh those things?
I mean, I think that there absolutely is no right answer. So to look at the pros and cons of both sides, one thing about that is that although that individual themselves might not be at higher risk, if they do contribute to the transmission, so maybe they do get it, maybe they don't even know, maybe they don't even develop any symptoms, but they're still spreading it. They might be the conduit to that person who is more susceptible and is more vulnerable. So there's that to consider. At the same time, yes, I also understand that this pandemic is now going into year 2, ending year 2, and there is absolutely something to be said about mental health. And what I would say is that I personally, with my family, am practicing restraint right now because I expect that this spike will be over in a matter of weeks. This is not something like Delta. The Delta spike dragged out much longer than honestly than a spike normally would. It became absolutely more of a very high plateau than a spike. What we've seen with this is that we do expect that this spike will probably be remain fairly high for the next maybe 2. Models have put it anywhere between between 10 and 21 days, and then after that it's anticipated to drop precipitously. And so pushing through for 2 weeks, and then maybe taking a little more liberty, that's the approach that I'm taking with my family. That might not be the right approach for everybody. And I guess that's the best I can answer that question.
Oh, thanks. That's really helpful.
Thanks, Bert. And then Kevin, then Lisa.
Oh. Hey, thanks for the audience. I got to learn how to run a meeting from Juanita. This is great, fast, good work. Deshane, question for you. You mentioned the home test kits. Say we took it, hypothetically, if I took a kit, did the thing, put it in obviously I've had experience doing that. Do we report that to you, call the office and let you track those that way? Is that the appropriate step?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the guidance that we've received both, from the federal level and the state level is that it's more important for us to track the positives than it is the negatives. Right now, so I mentioned the health department, we are experiencing a workforce shortage. And so we need to prioritize for those employees who are here doing, really great work each and every day. We need to prioritize the work that they do. And it's more important right now for us to capture the positives than it is the negatives. Sure. And so we have that set up on our website, missoulainfo.com, if you take an at-home test. But then this new shipment of at-home tests that we're getting from the state, they actually have on the kit that you'll get, it actually has where the state would like you to report if you're positive.
Nice. Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you.
Bert?
Let's see, you're on mute.
I don't know how that happened. But I mean, nobody's ever known me to be mute. But Shane, the question I've got is, do you see anything coming down the line that's got the devastating effects of Delta and the contagiousness of Omicron? Sorry.
That has not reared its ugly head as of yet. There is another strain right now that's being watched that's actually descendant of Omicron that is actually looking to be more transmissible than Omicron, which is crazy to believe because Omicron's already highly transmissible, but is not showing yet to be more severe. And so The way for for those of you who aren't geeky like me and study this kind of stuff and read all about viruses and their behaviors and patterns, what a virus wants to do is be transmissible, spread, replicate, but not kill its host. That's the ideal, because if a virus kills its host, it's going to die itself eventually. And so Omicron is a step in the right direction, in that what we will hope is that this virus takes a path toward the common cold, maybe a seasonal flu, and the coronavirus does cause both colds and flus. So there's absolutely the potential for this one to go either way. And we hope absolutely that it gets there. Omicron is a good sign that it's heading in that direction. We are not there yet. I really have my fingers crossed. The 2022 is absolutely the year that we flip that label to endemic. But on January 26, 2022, we're just not there yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that subvariant and what that was just in the news today. And also, particularly, the other questions and comments have been for people who are otherwise healthy. And is there anything to add for people who have multiple risk factors? Any information to report? And then I had a question about the judging, the election judge training as well.
I can't really say that there's much more to report, other than that if you do have pre-existing conditions that would make COVID have a higher potential of causing severe illness for you or your loved one, the best thing is to absolutely take all of those precautions that we've been taking over the last 2 years. And I do realize, and I think Josh gave us a good reminder of the toll that that's taking on people. And there was actually a great article, I think it was NPR or one of our national news sources today, that talked about the fact that even so, as the Omicron spike goes down, and in other parts of the United States, it has already moved into its descending phase. Here, not yet, but what we're seeing is that it's still a really hard battle for those people who are immunocompromised, because the Omicron variant absolutely still has the potential to be very dangerous for individuals who are immunocompromised. And it's going to be even harder for those folks to watch other people go out and do things and get on with life while they still have to take precautions. And obviously, I can't tell any one individual medical advice or personal advice for how to live your individual life. But what I can say is that we do have a lot of information about how we can protect ourselves, and that is limiting interactions, wearing high quality masks, getting vaccinated, and just doing everything we can to slow the spread of this virus.
Thank you. And if you could also say that the times for the testing kits at Fort Missoula.
That I will Google that and get on that right now, so you can ask Bradley his question, and then I'll try to come back with that answer.
Okay, what was the other? Of the dates of the training, are those offered in evening as well as daytime, or are there a variety of time slots for those trainings for various work schedules?
You bet. We worked really hard to offer trainings that incorporate all three trainings in one day. If somebody wants to be a manager, morning shifts, afternoon shifts. So there's at least one of each class that starts at 5:30, and we have Saturdays.
Okay.
So that we could really try to help cover and make sure that working people could come in, people who were in school could come in, and that we could make sure that anybody would have an opportunity to train. That's also why it covers almost a full month.
Thank you.
You bet.
Bradley, you may have already said this, but how many judges do we need?
So this is a great question. Missoula County, with the number of polling places we have, in order to be able to run a successful election, we need 600. In order to be able to offer split shifts, because election day can start at 7 a.m. and go to 8 p.m. and be a 14-hour day by the time you've checked in and checked out, we need over 700. And now with the unknown that we're going to be operating likely in the middle of I'm trying to use the right word here, endemic pandemic, we will be recruiting extra judges just so that if we have people call out sick, We have trained and experienced judges who are ready to step in, so there's no impact to voters on election day. So our goal is 800. Where we're at right now is 650 people signed up. But here's where we really need to get it so that when you go to your polling place, it looks like your community. You see your friends and family and neighbors. And that's why we're reaching out to you all, is that when you go, I said this to Juanita earlier, when you go to the Greenhouse Community Center to vote, I want you to see your neighbors in there working so that it feels like a family-friendly experience of your community getting together to do their civic duty. So we're on track, but what we really need right now are the people that you all know.
Thank you. We'll get them signed up. Maybe Deshane's done Googling. I don't know.
Deshane is not. I've checked our Facebook page, OEM's Facebook page. Any of the commissioners have an idea on where I messaged Adrian, but obviously it's after hours, so I'm not sure how quickly I'll hear back. I do know that, I mean, OEM will absolutely be putting that message out publicly. I'm guessing tomorrow.
Maybe when you get the information, we can send it to Violet and she can
All right.
blast it out.
So I know you said it was Fort Missoula and it was at some times on the weekend, but
It's scheduled from 11 to 7. I just
Okay.
don't know which day, if it's Saturday or Sunday.
We can make sure and get that out tomorrow, Lisa, to everybody.
okay.
And if you guys want to keep the conversation rolling for just a minute, I can see Adrian's typing a message back to me right now.
Okay.
Here we go. But she gave me the times, but not the date. And so actually, but it's good though, I was wrong. It was 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So not 11 to 7, it's 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Fort Missoula. And I can see her little dots typing right now. Technology is a blessing and a curse, and sometimes it's a blessing because we get this message from Adrian right from the source at 7 o'clock at night.
Way to go, OEM.
Yeah.
Oh, they are super rock stars. And so just, for background while I'm waiting for a response, because I saw the dots going, but they disappeared. Missoula County is receiving, let's see, so if I'm doing the math, 52 divided by 2 is 26. So we're receiving 26,000 kits, which equates to 52,000 tests because each kit has 2 tests. And so OEM is the one that they're coordinating receiving. I mean, we're talking tests. And so OEM stepped up and took care of receiving that and offered to coordinate all of the distribution. Her dots are back, so she's typing. Oh, Sunday. Also, fire department in Sealy, Clinton, and Frenchtown will distribute, as well as Lolo School. Those times are all to be announced and will be provided to both the press or TBA on times and local by press. Hey, press or release. I think she means by a press release tomorrow. So tomorrow, look also for times for Sealy, Clinton, Frenchtown, and Lolo. But for Missoula, it is Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Fort Missoula Regional Park. And she said, wow, forgive autocorrect on that message.
My dad just texted me asking about free N95 masks. Are they available?
Not that I haven't heard that yet that we're moving to doing mask distribution.
Okay.
If we hear that that's a need in the community, we absolutely can do that. When we put out the press release about recommending the higher quality masks, the N95, KN95, and KF94, we reached out to several local retailers, and they all confirmed that their supply was ample. So I don't. That was in the newspaper and the news article. I know we reached out to Home Depot, I think to Walgreens, CVS, maybe Walmart. It was one. We reached out to 4 retailers, and they all said that they had plenty of supply of masks.
Great. I think he was listening to national headlines, and so thanks.
Yeah, there was Juanita, there was national coverage of the federal government or the administration tapping into the strategic national stockpile of masks and making them available to the public. Like 400 million, I think, is what the number is. So I don't know what the plan is for distribution of those or not, but that's probably what your dad is talking about.
And at the health department, we have not been notified or looped in that we're expecting any masks at the moment.
Okay, thanks.
Well, I will put in a shameless plug that if masks are going to be available, N95s, that the school districts are in desperate need of high quality masks because this is running crazy through our schools. And we are given the little blue and white paper ones. And, you know, it's a hodgepodge. Anyway, I'm done.
Well, if you need any cloth masks that resemble Fruit of the Loom, Missoula County has an ample supply of those.
That we do. Yeah.
I've read recently that those little blue and white ones offer about 41% protection, and the N95s are 90-some%, like 91% effective.
Yeah.
So they really do make a huge difference from what I saw in that report.
Yeah, and so translating that, just for a moment for those who are interested, what the data shows that a cloth mask, if you are in the vicinity of someone who is infected and they are not wearing a mask and you are, which again, masks actually are not intended to protect you, they're intended to protect the other people, but they do still absolutely offer you protection. And so if you are in the vicinity of someone who is infected and you are wearing a cloth mask, that will provide you with Omicron about 10 to 20 minutes of protection because Omicron is so transmissible. The surgical masks, which are the white and blue ones, they bump it up more to about 20 minutes. The N95s can offer you up to 2 hours of protection. So you're looking at the difference of 10 to 15 minutes with a cloth mask and 2 hours with an N95. That's why we're seeing the push now for folks to wear N95 as much as possible. And again, that was one-sided data. If both people are wearing an N95, then that protection is almost 100%.
Kevin, did you have something?
Yeah, I was going to ask Deshane, follow up with the school comment. I know, like, my kid goes to Sentinel High School, and so many of the classmates are out with this. That are positive cases. Has there been a talk or a thought process of going online only for a little while till this cools down?
So that decision would actually be made at the school board level. I don't know if folks are aware, but our state legislature in 2021 in that session put a cap on a lot of the authorities of the health department. So as health officer, that's not a decision that I can make. What I can do is just provide the board of trustees as much information as they would like to make an informed decision on their end. So that would actually have to be decided by the board of trustees.
Sure. I'm just curious if they came to you with questions yet, or?
No, I mean, we meet with them regularly, at least once, usually sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. And what we're giving them is all of the most up-to-date data that we have as far as case, hospitalization, and then they use that information to make decisions how they see fit.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks.
I will say.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Sorry, but as much as we can do to get that information out there, that the health department does not run the schools, because we did have someone call and threaten to come shoot us because they were mad at how the schools were handling COVID. And we have zero control over how the school district handles COVID. Even at that, I don't want them threatening to go shoot the schools either. Nobody should be shooting anybody. But you can be mad at the health department for a lot of things. How the board of trustees chooses to make decisions is just not one of those things that I can't take accountability for.
Awesome. Appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Bert?
Yeah, just a comment. I think when the politicians, and some of them can't write in reasonable English sentences, take on being responsible for healthcare decisions, it's the dumbest damn thing in the world. It's just totally stupid. I think healthcare professionals should make those decisions. Just a thought.
Thanks, Bert. Chris Lounsbury, our CAO.
Hi, thanks, commissioners. Lisa, I just wanted to let you know I just talked to Adrienne Beck, who's our OEM coordinator, because the county does have a cache of KN95 masks, and she's going to reach out to the superintendents and see if we might be able to help fill some of those for teachers. So she'll be reaching out to them tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I know that I've been buying my own, but it's a lot of kids and a lot of people in those buildings. Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Chris. Tom, and then Emily.
Yeah, this is a question, Bradley or Violet. Since Seeley Lake is one of the outliers where it's hard to get judges, if you do, when you send out the materials, if you've got something that's kind of social media ready, we've found there are 3 or 4 Facebook pages, a couple of websites up here that if we get something on, we get pretty good response. So if there's something that's I can send out to a few page managers, we can just put up there, that'd be a big help.
Absolutely. I've got a few that are canned, ready to go. I'll make sure we get them out to you there, Tom. And also, just so you know, in your neck of the woods, the Pathfinder is going to cover it, and there will be inserts inside the Pathfinder as well, because it's always that Swan Condon area. Anytime I find somebody I know in that region, I give them a little talk about serving as an election judge.
Good. Thanks a lot.
Emily?
I just want to compliment, like I frequently do with the health department. Thank you for your continued work. And we unfortunately are regular users of the health department for our regular testing. I swear it's way too regular lately. But it's always easy and it's always simple, and thank you. So
Thanks for that. Tom, do you have your hand up again?
No, I forgot to take it down.
Okay.
But it's down now. Thanks for the reminder.
Just a quick follow-up for Emily and for everybody here. If so, we've mentioned that we're going to do test distributions at Fort Missoula, the fire departments in Clinton, Frenchtown, Seeley, the school at Lolo. If there are other suggestions for how we can get testing out to the communities, please let us know, and we will absolutely, do everything we can to beef up testing capacity in our community.
Emily, did you have your hand up? Oh. Okay, great. Thanks, Duchesne. 7:09. Any more COVID election judge training? I just saw Violet come on. Yeah.
If you want me to, I can just run through the councils that are representing and see if they have any updates from their necks of the woods, respectively.
Thank you. Almost forgot about that. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no worries. Let's see. I got my list here. We can start with West Valley Community Council. We have Tom Tucker and Jerry Dellis. Any updates or questions for any of our speakers or the commissioners?
I'll start. Hi, Tom. We have our ballot certification out. Well, we need to get it sent in. We are down to 3 council members. My term is up, probably won't run again, so that'll make 2 council members. So it looks like West Valley Community Council could be on the ropes. So just wanted to see if there was any way we could help recruit out here so that West Valley Community Council doesn't go bye-bye.
Jerry, is there anything you'd like us to do to help with that?
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, we're open. I don't know what the right
Well,
tack is,
yeah,
but
and,
if you have a
and vice
suggestion,
versa.
we'd love to do it.
Yeah,
Were
I
you
would say,
asking about what you could do to help me stay on, or were you
To recruit, what can we do to help you recruit new members?
It's just been ongoing and it's a struggle. I know years in the past we have done some pretty targeted advertising out here and it helped, but it's a hard sell. I'll just admit that. I don't know if other council members have had success in recruiting others. Would love to have some ideas shared on what you guys did to recruit.
Do you know if Jerry, do you know if the Frenchtown school, the high school and the elementary school, do they do any type of like electronic newsletter we might be able to get a notice in?
We have been putting a notice in there for the past like year.
Just continually for the past year and no one bit.
That's right.
Yeah, the
We
Frenchtown High
did have
School
them-
puts out a letter.
What's
we
that?
usually put an ad in there.
Yeah, we do. We do. We have we post our agenda. We post news in the school newsletter that goes out to 3,400 boxes. And we did recruit a new council member, but that it's just been real few and far between. So if I don't re-up, it just leaves 2 people and there will never be a quorum.
Strohmeyer?
yeah, Jerry, so you're not alone. We have some councils that are have been virtually defunct, such as Evero, Finley, O'Keefe, which hopefully is being reconstituted here. But I think one kind of obvious recruitment technique that might, I don't know to what extent you guys have tried this, and that's directly reaching out to individuals who you think would be good candidates, as opposed to, I think, the shotgun approach of putting out announcements doesn't always yield great results. So
yeah, I think we've all been real diligent with that. I know Tom has, I know I have. I am, unfortunately, I'm kind of hitting a dead end. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up. I actually have the paperwork sitting here on my desk. I haven't turned it in yet. I know we have until February 7th, I think, to turn in if we are going to continue on or not. So there's that. But I just thought if anybody had other ideas that we haven't tried, would love to try them. I mean, we have tried the direct approach. We've tried the newsletter. We've tried social media. We've tried a lot of different things, just not having any luck.
Hey, this is Lisa in East Missoula. Just an idea when recruiting, mention specific skill set for a specific task, and give them a real, like, we need you for this, and see if that might give them an idea of how they're going to be helpful and be a little specific if you haven't already.
Sure. Thanks, Lisa.
Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay.
Thanks for that update, Jerry. And I'll excuse me, I'll get with Kyla too. She's pretty good with board and council recruitment, more so than myself, and reach back out to you and see if I hear anything. So thanks.
Yeah, if you want to have Kyla shoot me an email tomorrow, and yeah, we'll just see what maybe we can come up with. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, perfect. I will do that, definitely.
Great.
And Violet, we had good folks, I mean, apply from Frenchtown for various boards and committees. And so maybe if Kyla went back through
Ooh, that's a really good
those
idea.
applications. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I wonder if there's maybe a search we could do on anybody with a Frenchtown-ish address and send them a note.
Yeah, good thinking for sure. I'll talk with Kyla about that tomorrow. Thanks again, Jerry. Tom,
thank you.
Tom, did you have any additional updates from over in West Valley or questions?
That's where we're standing right now. We're struggling.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Tom. How about Sealy Lake, Tom Browder?
Well, actually, yeah, so our next meeting is February 14th, which is, and one of our subjects is who will be filing, but I just saw Bradley's thing that filing closes on February 9th. I did not know that. So I guess we'll need to discuss this virtual or via email beforehand. No, we did not meet in January, but all the rest of our meetings will happen as usual. The only message I'd give all of you is it's winter time up here. Snow's still pretty good. In the chat, I have put our Sealy Swan events calendar, which was something that we sort of a couple of years ago, the council had a piece of it. We got some volunteers together and said, we really need a calendar in the valley. So we use the same gatherboard software that MissoulaEvents.net has used for years. But it's made a big difference because we're not now scheduling on top of one another. So, you'll see a history walk this weekend. We've got some Nordic ski races. We'll have Race to the Sky in a couple of weeks. So yeah, take a look at it. Otherwise, no, I guess our marching orders are with that filing closing before our next meeting. We need to get on that. Question, Bradley, if you're an incumbent, can all the filing be done online?
So we don't, camera issues, sorry about that. We can't accept through an online portal, but you can take a clear image of a signed ink form and send that in. So what we tell a lot of people to do is, if you don't have access to a scanner or a fax, take a picture on your phone and email it to election info, and we can accept that. So if you have a candidate up there who would like to file and you locate them before the 5 p.m. deadline on the 9th, they can send in that scan or clear photocopy of their form.
Got it. Okay, then one more sort of administrative question. We have 2 positions plus the commissioner appointed position, which I happen to have held the last 3 years. Does the decision about the individual to be commission appointed need to be made by the 9th?
I actually have to follow up with you just a little bit on that, Tom. I was ready for a lot of different candidate filing questions here, but I do believe that the commissioner appointed position would go through the appointment when that term ends, and the terms normally end on March 31st.
March or May?
I'm sorry, May 5/31.
Tom,
okay, so then, yeah, that helps. But if you can find out for sure, because I think in the past when we've had the folks that file, and then if there's someone we think we know for sure we want on the council, we can make that the commissioner appointed one.
Hey, Tom, I guess I'm not sure what you're talking about as far as commissioner appointed. We appoint folks when they miss the cycle to get on the ballot, but every one of those community council positions, to my knowledge, should be an elected position by the community. I don't think
I was looking at it the other day, and I think it says 6 of the 7 are elected and 1 is appointed by the commissioners. Not that I want to argue with the senior commissioner.
But is that unique to Sealy Lake? I've not heard of that before.
It's not in the Bonner bylaws for sure.
We should look at
We'll look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really doesn't matter too much. It just, I remember when Klaus was our chair, then 3 years ago, it's like one of these is the commissioner appointment. I thought I looked on the county website where it talks about the councils, and it does say that it's 6 elected and 1 appointed, just to give the commissioners a little, a piece of the influence, not majority. But yeah, sorry to confuse things, but we're okay either way. I know where I saw this. Who sent out the docs like late December, early January that showed the status of our council and whose term was it was like a census form or something. Where did that come from?
So Tom, those come from us here, and I'm pulling up our board program right now to take a look at the Seeley Lake Community Council, where we have that in, and it does show specifically 6 positions and 1 commissioner appointed. I'll pull up some bylaws on that and follow up with you too.
Okay, yeah, just so we know. I mean, if we will have 3 open positions. If we need to get 3 filed, then we want to do that. But when Jack Greenwood, the vice chair, and I signed.
It looks like Tom froze, but yeah, maybe keep going, Violet, and Bradley will get back to him.
Okay.
Well, being frozen in Seeley Lake is not unusual.
Okay.
Okay, that in the bylaws, and it's pretty unique, but I just copied and pasted them in there. And so we do have some community councils that have separate bylaws. We worked hard to get those all into the county onboard system. But yep, so Seeley Lake is a unique beast, as is kind of normal.
Thanks for looking that up, Bradley.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. While we wait for Tom to possibly hop back on, we'll go to Bonner Milltown, and we have Rick, Emily, and Bert all on the call. If any of you guys have any updates or other questions.
Well, since Emily just got promoted to vice chair, I'll defer to her.
Okay. Updates here. We are actually in need of another position for replacement. And I'm so sorry, Bert. I cannot remember his name, and I am awful at names.
Don Feldman. Don Feldman.
Thank you.
Don can't do, he just got tired of doing virtual. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. That was my question I was needing. As of our last meeting, the removal of the Milltown repository is on hold for the winter. The sale of the old firehouse went up for auction for $585,000. It sold for $665,000. Bert, were you there? I thought you were going to maybe show up.
I was there.
Okay.
Get out bid, Bert.
They had a follow-up bid in case the first one, it's not going to fail, but in case the first bid failed, the second one was in for 625. So either one of those numbers is going to be a big help in paying for the new fire station.
What will the fate be of the old building?
Nobody knows what the man intended to do that bid on it. Nobody knows.
It'll be a mystery.
And since it's basically unzoned out there, he can do just damn near any way he wants to.
Not for long,
Oh, that one is part of the zoned area eventually, right, Rick?
Eventually, not yet.
Emily, are you looking at a map?
I'm not looking at it, but we went over all the mapping stuff on the last Bonner Milltown Community Council, and I believe Splitsville is there, but Rick would know more than I would.
And it's all in draft mode, waiting for the first public meeting. So it's a long way from being zoned.
Yeah. I do not
Okay,
believe they
Emily,
moved
isn't
into
it-
the new.
I think
Oh,
it's in.
sorry.
I think it's in a casino district. It's a new zoning. that we have.
That would be bad news for me.
We have one of those at the truck stop already.
I do not believe they have moved into the new firehouse yet.
No.
And that is the update from Bonner Milltown that I have. The only other thing I'm just going to give a plug out that is grant related and stuff. I was on with the Missoula Economic Development today, and they were talking about the American Rescue Plan Act. And so if you guys know some businesses out there that are struggling, there is some really good workforce training. And so I put it up in the chat thing. So there's some really good workforce training grants out there available through Montana, and it's a pretty easy form to fill out online. So I'm going to take advantage of that for my business to make sure that my employees have some extra training this next year that are available that wouldn't be normally available at all. So those are my updates.
And we do have an emergency meeting coming up Thursday.
Oh yes, we do have that one emergency meeting. You can explain that one if you like, Rick.
I wish I could. I don't have the paperwork, but we're considering we've been asked to send a letter of recommendation in support of a trail improvement. Is that correct, Grant?
Right. That's what it is. They requested that the Bonner Milltown Council give a letter of support for grant for trails and parks. And we're going to discuss that Thursday. For what it's worth, I got out of a meeting a couple hours ago, and part of that meeting was about the Bonner repository with the Missoula Development Authority. They will do a bid. They will go out for bids early next month, and hopefully be able to start just as soon as the weather breaks to get rid of the rest of the contaminated material and start looking for a new business to fill that 3.5 acres and provide us a little more incremental income for the TIF. That's all I've got.
Thanks, Bert. Thanks, Emily. Thanks, Rick. Let's see. I know that Lisa is here. Lisa, am I right that you're East Missoula Community Council? Okay, perfect. Any updates or questions?
Hello. Yes, I'm here. And I was given a script by Lee Bridges. So she is not attending. So I'm just going to start. She even gave me, hi, this is Lisa Thomas. I'm here to represent East Missoula Community Council tonight because Lee Bridges is taking a temporary hiatus from the board to work on starting up her business. So she's not attending the all community councils, and Jack Ballas is going to be running our meetings for a few months, and Lee will still be doing all the behind the scenes kind of part of the council still, but not running our monthly meetings. So get back to my script. We are still busy working with CAPS on the finalization of the zoning code, and we want to thank all three of the commissioners for giving our community a voice in the public hearing on January 13th, denying the zoning variance requested by the developer of Canyon Gate on the Ole's property in the heart of East Missoula. The variance was being asked to be put in place before our final zoning code is in place. That's expected this spring. Thereby allowing the developer to grandfather his or her project in the antiquated zoning code that is not in keeping with our new land use growth plan. In the end, it came down to settling for a 44 unit 2-story complex instead of a 59 unit 3-story 1 building. Now it's 3 buildings. Even with a non-binding offer of placing a single commercial unit on the ground floor of the 3-story building with business to be determined by the developer, we are thankful that our county commissioners kept in sight our growth plan and our vision for the future by denying the variance and settling for the 2-story multiple structures that have a less negative impact on the neighboring community than the original 59 unit 3-story structure variance request. I'm going to thank all of you for your help and your decision on this matter. That was from Lee. And it really was a big deal. Ole's is the heart and center of East Missoula, so it's quite important what goes there. It's high on our list on the community council. But also off of her notes, I wanted to mention that Susan Holden is a new member to our council, and also a gentleman named Stephen, I do not have his last name, is going to be our new alternate member. But we have not met him yet. We hope he joins in our February meeting upcoming. So the work of the council continues. And that's it.
Thanks so much, Lisa. And Lee, though she's not here, for providing that message.
Yeah.
Last on my list is Lolo, and we have Kevin. Kevin, any updates or other questions?
Yeah, I feel spoiled. I think our two open positions, I believe both candidates filed to retain their seats. My question was, we had a question come out, do you know this person for an alternate? And I just want to know, Violet, where that's at in the process. Was he, I don't know if it was him or her, I don't remember. Was that person through the vetting process? Have they been appointed? That's the only real question we have out here.
That's a really good question.
I can answer that.
Thanks, Dave. Figured you would know.
And this actually relates to East Missoula. We are not appointing either of those alternate positions since the time is so short for between filing and the election.
Sure.
We're asking those folks to file and get their name on the ballot and be elected by their community.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. I like that. I like that better, especially with our full council. My goal was always to see our names as council members on a ballot instead of just filing and being on it. So that's cool.
Kevin, if you know any other folks who might be interested, encourage them so it's more than one person running. So people have a choice.
I'll tell them you said so, and we'll be in good
Yeah.
shape.
I mean, I'm not even. I think it's better for people if they have a choice. You know?
Yeah, we like you. We like you guys out here. Lolo likes you guys, so we're doing good. So as long as I quit going crying to the news stations about silly stuff.
Water under the bridge, man.
Awesome. Good. Yeah, and then we did submit a letter of support for a grant application for our trail, and Bert has a copy of what we sent so they can know what not to do or copy it. It's their choice. So that's all we got. We're happy out here in Lolo.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Did I miss anybody, or is there any other staff or council members that have any other questions or updates, things to say before we depart?
Can I just clarifying for Dave on that, the alternate? So this gentleman who's going to be joining us, he's still going to be going through an election process. Did I hear correctly?
Yeah, he's actually not going to be joining you formally. We interviewed him, but it was after that we made the decision that it just doesn't make sense with such little time before the election. They might as well just file and run. So, but
they've been notified, correct?
Yeah,
they've been notified, and he's more than welcome to attend your meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Should attend.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for that question, Lisa. I see that Tom got back on. Tom, I know that you dropped off there for a second. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think, I see our bylaws that Bradley put in the chat. So we'll probably move ahead with the bylaws as they are, but I know we owe considering the revisions and probably voting on them as well. So that helps. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tom. Anything else from anybody before I turn it back over to Commissioner Vero?
This will be real quick. It's 7:35. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Unless Josh or Dave, do you have anything?
Thanks everyone for participating as always.
Really
Thank
important.
you, everyone.
We
As
really
always,
appreciate you come
thanks
out.
for having these things. This is important to us, I think.
Yes, yeah,
Likewise.
agreed.
Great to see you all.
Good to be here.
Have a good week and a good month.
Thanks.
Enjoy Mazatlan, Rick.
Goodbye.